Hi guys, welcome to the Harrison Cameras YouTube channel. I'm Darren and I'm here in Hillsborough Park with the new Fujifilm X-H2S and Fujifilm 150-600mm telephoto lens. I might have to move on from here, unfortunately, as they've just literally started digging just off to my right here, so I'm going to find somewhere else a bit more quiet. Hi guys, welcome back. I've found somewhere a bit quieter, away from the digging, hopefully. So as I was saying, I'm here in Hillsborough Park with the new Fujifilm X-H2S and the new Fujifilm 150-600mm telephoto zoom lens. The X-H2S sits at the top of the range of Fujifilm X cameras. You've got 26 megapixel, the latest processor, and you've got 15 frames a second and 40 frames a second on the electronic shutter, which brings it in line very nicely with the Canon R7 and the other sort of mirrorless cameras that are, you know, sort of top of the range. And yeah, so you've got the full feature set in here. Autofocus wise, brand new autofocus system that is super quick. And once you've worked out the features and the right menu settings, is incredibly accurate. I have to admit, when I took it out of the box and stuck the lens on, we came down here, and behind me you can't quite see, there's a lake with you know, sort of birds, wildlife, geese, ducks, and you know, when I first took it out and started taking some pictures, I was a bit underwhelmed by the autofocus on it, I have to admit. But after fiddling with the settings and finding the turning on the bird recognition, I suppose that's bird recognition. Yeah, bird finding. Anyway, the autofocus setting that relates to eye tracking and particularly for birds, and then now it locks on and is incredibly accurate. You know, having used the Canon R7 for wildlife bird photography, I have to say this is, you know, every bit as good. And I think for Fujifilm users, that's you know, that's a really good thing. I think you know, I think in the past Fujifilm have been seen as a bit of a sort of lagging behind when it comes to autofocus, but this is definitely up there with the best of them. The 26 megapixel sensor, I mean, from what I've seen on the back of the screen so far, the images are sharp, even shooting at high ISOs, even though it's warm and the middle of summer here, it's pretty overcast and dull, so the ISO has been bumping up sometimes to sort of 12,800, and you know, sort of the images look clean and sharp. As with all Fujifilm lenses, or you know, most of these XF lenses, you've got sort of aperture ring, which doesn't have solid hard stops. I think I would have preferred. I suppose I think you can set this as different functions. So maybe, you know, sort of 360 degrees turning is what you want. But to be honest, you know, like I would have liked, when using the aperture ring as an aperture ring, I think I would have liked to have the f-stops as a solid stop. But otherwise, been impressed with that. It's really quick to lock on. It's surprisingly light. I mean, the whole setup is surprisingly light. I think it's probably very similar to the Canon, like an R7. I think the camera itself's a bit heavier than an R7, but the lens is, I think, a little bit lighter. it's a little bit lighter than some of the RF lenses. I was a bit surprised when I took it out of the box. I thought it doesn't quite feel as premium as I was expecting, but since I've been using it all morning, lugging it around on my shoulder and things like that, I'm kind of glad that it's as light as it is. Like, it feels like you can sort of carry this around most of the day, and it's very comfortable. The X-H2S has got in-body stabilization, which which helps you to keep this steady at 600. The lens itself has got image stabilizer built into it as well, so you can use it on some of the other Fuji bodies and still retain some image stabilization, but connected to this body you get about 7 stops of image stabilization, which on a day like this, it's overcast, you're shooting into some shadows and some dull areas, you can handhold, and you're still getting some really sharp images. So they've just started drilling again. I don't know what they're drilling, but they're drilling. So I'll wrap this up quickly. Who's this camera for? And what's this package for? And I would say, if you're a high-end amateur to professional wildlife photographer, sports photographer, this is a great camera for you. This is what it's built for. It's built for speed and action, and with the weather sealing, the autofocus speed, the frames per second, that is what it's for. It easily competes with the Canon R7, which I personally thought was the best option for that sort of photography. I think this definitely sits alongside it. I think if you were a Fujifilm user and you were hoping for a higher resolution sensor, then I think you're going to have to wait for the X-H2, whatever I think it's X-H2H or something similar. I'd look out for that, but otherwise, it's definitely worth considering if you are one of the aforementioned types of photographer. It's just starting to rain as well, so I'm going to leave it there, and I'll see you on the next video. Have a good one.